This edition of MacVoices is supported by Amazon Pharmacy. Get your prescriptions delivered right to your door. Find out more at amazon.com/MacVoicesRx. This edition of MacVoices is supported by Smile, the makers of PDF Pen and PDF Pen Pro. PDF editing for your Mac, iPhone, and iPad. Find out more at smilesoftware.com/podcast. Welcome to MacVoices Live. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, we do this every Tuesday on Facebook and YouTube, and we hope that you will join us if we have some folks here that have. If you can't join us for work reasons or time zone reasons, we understand. That's why you'll find edited versions of the live show in the MacVoices feeds, because we want everybody to understand how much fun we have here and encourage you to come and join us and abuse me like the panel always does. Because the panel is really, really good at that.
You say it like it's a negative
strong statement.
Yes, it is a strong statement.
I didn't say you were wrong. I just said it was a strong statement.
Yeah, see? Yeah, see?
No, Mr. Joyner, I expect you to die.
We're less than a
Chuck,
minute
this
in.
is how you know we love you.
And this is what happens, yeah.
Oh
So
my
let's go around the room and find out who's here, and then we will get to tonight's topics. Taking my screen as I always do. First up, Mr. David Ginsburg. David, great to have you as always. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for being here. I'm very tired from digging out of the snow we received today and last night. So, yeah, we had 8 inches of snow, so at least my driveway's clear.
And that's important. That's important. So you can make a quick getaway.
Yes.
From whatever. Next up, Ms. Brittany Smith made it early this time. Brittany, welcome. It's great to have you.
Thanks. Don't expect this next time.
Okay, well
we'll tie your legs together so you can't get away.
I can swim away.
And she has experience, apparently, folks. And that's as far as we're going with that. Mr. Guy Serle is here.
Hello.
Guy, which microphone are you using tonight?
Oh, it's my old and faithful standby, my Heil PR40. I love this microphone.
Okay. Well, then why do you keep pandering around?
Because I'm an idiot. Come on,
because
Chuck.
he's Guy.
Okay.
I feel obligated. I have all of these microphones, and I feel obligated sometimes.
At least 150.
But they cost
He's a
more.
Polymic, which is a completely acceptable lifestyle.
Except the beard gives it away.
Yeah.
And that comment came from Mr. Jeff Gamet, who was on the messaging today with me. We were discussing going to Mars.
We were, and much to everyone's surprise, it was a very nice and intellectual conversation.
Yes, it really was. It really was.
I thought this was Mars.
Unlike what you're about to experience here tonight.
Exactly.
Yeah, and for the people that watch the recordings and then tune in later on to see a live one, and they're like, "Wait, who's this extra person that I see on the live show that's never in the recordings?" That's me. I'm assuming I'm the one that gets edited out.
Hardly.
Who said that?
It's only right.
Hardly. Mr. Frank Petrie is here, and if we can get him to keep his hands off the keyboard, he will still be here for the rest of the evening.
By the time you finish his intro.
Just wait till I get my iPhone out and it goes right through the screen of this iMac.
Please don't, Frank.
It almost did yesterday.
Good to have you. Good to have you.
Glad to be here.
Last but absolutely not least, on the bottom of the deck this time, Ms. Kelly Guimont. Kelly, good to see you.
I was on the phone doing tech support, so I was fashionably late this evening.
Understood.
You're allowed.
Yeah.
Understood.
Are you using a different camera?
I'm not. I don't know why it looks different, though. It does
You're
look
on a
different.
different angle.
Different angle.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Because it used to sit on top of that monitor back there, and now it sits on top of my new 4K monitor.
Yeah.
Oh,
nice.
Oh, rub it in.
Okay, so that was a subtle brag. So we'll bite. What kind of 4K monitor?
That wasn't the subtle brag. The subtle brag is it's an LG 27-inch 4K monitor. It was recommended to me by my friend Don Melton, and the braggy part is that I have a matched pair.
Those are the best.
Whoa.
Did it just get hot?
So you have
in
one
here?
too many.
It did. It's a little warm in here. I'm not gonna lie.
Ooh.
I'd already gotten a preview.
Wow.
You got a preview of her matched pair?
I did. Yeah.
Okay.
You
I
did.
definitely phrase it to her husband that way.
All right. Okay.
That's correct. Yes.
I have
Okay,
a matched pair too. I have Dell 2721s.
Yeah. The ones
Nice.
behind me are 24s. They're Dell 24s, IPS.
I only
'cause-
have one, but it's
well,
big.
but you have a massive one.
That's true.
I'm still using my
So-
my Apple Thunderbolt 27-inch, so it
Well-
still works.
It's okay, Brittany. It's okay. Mr. Kelly and I got the same monitor basically like within a month of each other. Like I got one and he decided it was a pretty solid monitor and picked up one of his own. And so what we did this time is that then I gave him my 24 and then I got two 27s because I'm working from home all the time and I do use both my work computer and my personal computer as money-making machines. So we kind of justified it that way. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
So forgive me because I was answering. We're about to be joined by one more panel member. Mr. Jim Ray is back.
Hey, Jim.
Jim,
Oh.
Hey, unmute.
and you're back.
You didn't get enough of this group the first time around?
Hey, this is a fun group.
Yes, well, Kelly has been talking about a matched pair, and Brittany has been talking about having her legs tied together. What can I tell you?
Yeah, I just turned off the YouTube, so
Yeah.
I was
And yet you
listening.
still showed up.
And you came anyway over here. Yeah.
Brave man.
I couldn't
Kelly.
find the link on Facebook, so you
Oh,
don't
we
have to
got
tell
it.
me what the secret is.
Yeah. Hey, Kelly, forgive me because I was in the process of letting Jim in, and if I missed it, I apologize. What are you using to drive two 27-inch 4K monitors?
Well, right now I've got one hooked up to each computer. So I'm in the process of figuring out how to run the laptop closed and push the video to both of the monitors and then how to switch between them. The hitch to that is that I really like Touch ID and there's no way to do it if the laptops are closed.
Yeah.
So I'm currently debating what the setup is ultimately going to look like because I only just got Touch ID on my own machine because on my M1 was the first time I had Touch ID on my computer. So I'm not sure what trade-off I'm going to make there. So right now, my desk is still very much in flux. It's been like the better part of a week now, and I'm not sure how I'm going to solve it. So I guess we'll see.
Kelly,
That's going to be my Apple speculation is some sort of Bluetooth and also secure enclave Touch ID on the keyboard, or at least a whole lot more convenient ways to unlock stuff with your other devices.
Kelly, I've had to go through the very debate that you're processing right now.
Where'd you come out?
I came out closed lid mode and Apple
you,
Watch
Guy. You're
for
welcome.
unlocking.
That's what I know. I can unlock one computer with my watch. I don't know if I can do more than one. And
Only
I think
one.
That's going to be the magic. If that works, then I'm solid.
That's exhausting.
I will throw in, this is just, it depends on how you work, Kelly. But I found that if having the monitor is nice, having a monitor that size is nice for two computers. I prefer to have it with one computer. And that means an OWC dock. But once you do that, because I've got two,
Yeah, I agree.
I've got two Dell 27s, and I use the screen open on my MacBook Pro. So I've got basically three screens, and through the OWC Thunderbolt dock, and works flawlessly. And boy, is it a lot of fun to have all those pixels right in front of you.
Yeah.
So.
Well, if Larry would like to sponsor my future video appearances on MacVoices Live, I'm happy to use my 10 seconds to shout them out if he wants to send me one. I'm kidding.
Yeah. No, you're
The
not.
girl can dream. I just spent a bunch of money on monitors, okay? Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Touch ID has become so useful and so convenient for everything that it's for. I'm definitely going to be sad if that's the adjustment I make. Like, I know whichever way I decide, I'm probably coming out ahead, but it will make me sad to see it go if it goes.
Yeah.
So,
well, I'm going to use that as a segue into the first part of the conversation. This is something that we even said at the end of last week's show that we were doing so much discussion of the potential Mac redesign, but we really only pretty much got to discussion of ports and of the laptops. We didn't really touch on any of the other models that are out there, or really most of the other features. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to delve into that a little bit and see, who likes what and who thinks what would work with an iMac redesign. Kelly, I think you were the one that, you know what, I got to do one other thing. And I'm sorry, I thought about it. I owed Jim Ray an apology. Because the quality control on last week's show slipped in post-production, and his name was misspelled in the lower third. So Jim, I'm sorry, you had an extra, I think it was a V added to your name last week. So I'm sorry about that.
Do you post the show twice?
I post the edited versions. Yes. The live version just automatically gets recorded, but then I do some post-production. So yes.
Okay. So I never saw the edited version. I looked at part of the live version, so I guess that didn't have that.
Okay. Well, then I never should have said anything. Yeah.
Exactly.
But anyway,
it never happened. These are not.
Chuck's trying
not
to
the titles
say.
you're
15 minutes in time.
Yeah.
What Chuck means to say is the intern responsible has been sacked. And so it won't happen again.
Which means
if it ever happened at all,
I'm out. I'm the intern. And I just remembered that as I'm looking down at Jim's face, and it's like, oh shoot, yes, I remember screwing that up. No, Kelly, you were the one I think that said last week about getting rid of the chin on the iMac.
Yes, I did.
Do we really
stand by that?
Do we really want the chin gone? Because that would be a nice place to have some ports.
Well, you could still put they don't need to be on the front. Like they could be
on the side,
the bottom or the side, which I think at one point they were, or at least very close to the edge, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember 100%. I never had a flat iMac. I only ever had the gumdrop one. So I don't remember when that happened, but I remember there being a point where the ports were like a lot more convenient than completely on the back, where it's sort of weird and awkward to try to get a hold of them. So I would like very much I would like if the chin went away in the favor of some other sort of interesting design. And that's only because the iMac has been what it's been for a long time. Was it like 2012 we got this version or something?
More or less, yeah.
2011.
And 2011. Okay, so like 10 years now we've had this iMac. And the really interesting thing to me about the iMac, even though I only ever had one and it was the gumdrop one, was the interesting design swings they always took with it before. So like the eMac was like the weird chunky white plastic one, that really just looked like an iPod that had put on a bunch of weight. We had like the sunflower lamp, Pixar lamp, iMac,
the Luxo lamp,
and the Luxo lamp iMac.
Mashed potatoes.
We had like a bunch of really interesting design iterations until we got to the one that we have now, and it's just sort of sat there. And then they made it slightly darker metal colored for the iMac Pro. Ooh. Like make it cool, make it interesting, make it fun like the first one was. Like throw back and like make it free. Like I want to see the M2 Mac or something like really do something cool and swing for the fences, because we haven't seen anything interesting now that Johnny Ive is gone. We haven't seen an interesting new design in anything. The iPhone was new, but it's a new version of what the iPhone used to look like. So that doesn't quite cut it in my book. That the square sides came back, which is awesome, and I love it. But we've seen that kind of iPhone already. So we haven't seen any of the new designs in the MacBooks. We haven't seen any of the new designs in the other stuff. And I'm curious how they're going to change that now. Like, if I'm an iMac person, I don't care if it's thinner. I don't care if it's lighter. I don't need it to be more portable. Those aren't things I'm interested in this computer. What I want is a fast processor and an awesome screen and a reasonable price. Those are the things I want out of an iMac. That's why people buy them. I get a really fabulous monitor that happens to have a pretty great computer slapped on the back. And that's the thing that people want out of it. And I want it to continue to be that, but I want it to look cool. And while this one looks fine, but it's been the same thing for like 10 years now. And so I want it to look new and cool.
Guy?
Actually, I have an idea.
Or Jeff, jump in. Go.
Okay. Well, first, the iMac has evolved to the point where it's a display that comes bundled with a free computer.
That's exactly what I mean.
So at some point, what else can you do with the physical appearance of a display? I think the chin going away is a totally reasonable expectation. Ports on the front, not going to happen. It doesn't fit with Apple's aesthetic.
Nope.
But what if you took some ideas from previous iMac models? So let's take that display and the base that it sits on, let's replace that with a movable arm. And then the bottom of the base is going to be pretty heavy because it has to keep that iMac balanced all the time. Now you can throw a couple extra USB ports on that. Now, you don't have ports on the front of the computer, but you have a couple on the front of that base. And now you've redesigned the iMac, made it something new and fresh, and given people something that they want, which is easier accessibility to some USB or Thunderbolt ports.
But that,
I like it.
Monitor arm is going to be $1,000.
Don't even ask about the wheels.
Have you seen the designs where they said the base would be a Qi charger?
That sounds amazing.
I thought it was great. They showed someone, it was the exact same, stand you have now, but that whole area there, you could put your iPhone, you can put your AirPod Pros, your pencil.
Is that why we're hearing about MagSafe coming back to Macs?
Oh, no, that would be an interesting way to do it.
Oh.
Amazon Pharmacy is supporting this edition of MacVoices. Get your prescriptions delivered to your door and more with Amazon Pharmacy. There are some things that just scream out for a change of workflow, and getting your prescriptions filled is one of them. That's why you need to check out Amazon Pharmacy. With Amazon Pharmacy, you can get your prescriptions delivered right to your door. No more standing in line at the pharmacy, only to find out that they didn't get to your prescription yet. So there's another trip back to the pharmacy to get back in line. Or you could just open the front door of your home and there are your prescriptions waiting for you. Even better, if you're an Amazon Prime member, you can get those prescriptions delivered free in just 2 days. I know how well Amazon Prime works for me, and now you can have it work just as well for you with your prescriptions. Just have your doctor call your prescriptions in to Amazon Pharmacy. If you're paying with insurance, Amazon Pharmacy works with most insurance plans nationwide. So what are you waiting for? Amazon Prime members can save on prescription medication when not using insurance and get free 2-day delivery. Learn more at amazon.com/MacVoicesRx. That's Amazon, AMAZON.com/MacVoices. And that's MacVoices with an R and an X, just like a prescription. Amazon.com/MacVoicesRx. Thanks to Amazon Pharmacy for their support of MacVoices. This edition of MacVoices is sponsored by Smile, the makers of world-class software like PDF Pen and PDF Pen Pro. Which Apple devices do you use to get things done? Your Mac? Your iPad? Your iPhone? 2 of them? All 3 of them? It sure is a good thing that Smile made PDF Pen available on all the Apple productivity devices so that no matter where you are or what device you're using, you have the power of PDF Pen at your command. PDF Pen lets you do pretty much anything you want to with a PDF. Run OCR to make it into editable text? Edit that text. Securely redact that text. Annotate that text. add handwritten notes or typed notes to the document. Even add audio annotations so that the other person not only sees, but also hears what you're thinking about the document. That's where PDF Pen starts, but it's far from where it ends. And if you want even more, there's PDF Pen Pro, with more exporting capabilities, more control over permissions, tables of contents for your documents, and more. Find out why you should have PDF Pen on your Mac, iPhone, and iPad at smilesoftware.com/podcast. That's smilesoftware.com/podcast. More great software from Smile, the makers of world-class software. Thanks to Smile for their ongoing support of MacVoices.
You know what I think would be nice, and you kind of almost hinted at it, Kelly. You said it's a display with a computer.
Mm-hmm.
Except it's not a display. I want to be able to use it as a monitor again, like they used to. Remember you used to be able to hook it up and use it as a monitor.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Let's have that again. I think that would be the biggest win for me.
That doesn't do anything about the physical appearance, but I agree with you. I wish that Target Display was the thing that made a comeback.
Like Jeff said, it's a monitor. But, most of Apple's devices are getting to their minimum. What they can be,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a display. It's now flat. We don't have CRTs anymore. Don't need a chin. It's just like you're limited by, like a laptop's got to have a keyboard and it's got to have a display.
Mm-hmm.
There's not much further they can go in terms of like adding fins or,
like a 57 Chevy.
Yeah.
No, old Cadillac.
Okay, but now I want that because it would look cool.
Guy, the thing that bothers me, I guess, about some of what Jeff described, or some of the speculation here, is that feels a little trendy, a little flashy, a little. I don't. It feels borderline unnecessary. I mean, I'm sitting in front of an iMac right now, and for better or worse, this design is held up for a whole lot of years. There are very few things I dislike about this that I can't solve with another add-on of some kind. Would it be nice not
some kind,
or a dock? That's really the biggest objection is I want more accessible ports, or I want more ports. But other than that, the chin can go away. It doesn't bother me. But beyond that, do we need an evolution of this model?
I don't think we do. Other than losing the big chin on the bottom, it's not a bad design. However, I would also say that the time for a computer like an iMac from Apple is over. I don't think they need it anymore. I think they. Oh yeah, I went there. I think they could use a mid-level desktop. Add whatever monitors you want to put on there. Apple should probably sell a monitor that is Apple reasonably priced, with the same type of quality that you would get from an iMac. And, because here's the thing, especially with the M series Macs, the ability to customize what it is that you have in the box is gone. It's over, and it's not going to come back. So what does that leave the person who says, well, I need this computer to do XYZ. And in order to do XYZ, I need to have this, or this. I need to have a different monitor, or I need to have a different, what do you call you draw on, or whatever.
Tablet.
Yeah, a tablet. Or not so much like an iPad, but, the tablets that cartoonists
like a Wacom
use.
tablet.
Exactly, Wacom. That's what I was trying to think of. And people are choosing iMacs mostly because that's Apple's mid-level machine. For the low end, you've got the Mac Mini. For the mid-range, you've got the iMac. For the high end, you've got the Mac Pro. Why are people choosing an iMac? Because that's Apple's mid-level, mid-power machine. So give people a desktop machine in a relatively small case, bigger than a Mac Mini, with more ports and all the rest of the stuff that they want. We don't need to add, as the M series has shown us, we don't need to add more RAM. we don't really even need to add that much more storage because Thunderbolt is so fast, it doesn't matter where you plug your storage in, you're going to get fast access to it anyway. Let people choose their own monitors. Let people choose their own stuff that they're going to add to their computer. Make it an actual personal computer again, instead of making people buy a 21 or 24 or 27 or 32 inch or whatever size you want to talk about monitor that once that computer has ended its life is now basically just fodder for a landfill.
But on the one hand, I agree with you, like let people have decisions, but that's what the Mini is for. And for people who don't want to have to make that decision, the iMac is really nice for that. And I think there's definitely a place for it in institutions where you don't have to worry about all of the stuff that happens between, like in an educational setting or in an enterprise setting. Like I've done a lot of trainings in classrooms that are just rows of iMacs because while it's very easy to swap out all the monitors or swap out all the computers, like it's also very easy to just pop that off the desk, pop a new one on the desk, and now everything on it is, new and refreshed, whatever. You don't have to worry about video cards and pinouts and all the kind of crap that goes on when you have to connect a separate device to your CPU. So I definitely see a place for it, but until Apple starts doing something interesting with the ports on the back of the Mini, and we don't know what the Mini design is going to look like, but until that turns into something with exceptional ports or something else,
ports, yeah.
like I mean, there's a fair number of ports on the Mini now. I'm not bashing it, but I said fair. It's a fair number. It's not an exceptional number.
It's 2 and 2.
It's not the mind-blowing number that it used to be on the old ones, like the 2011 under my desk. Like the entire back of it is just cutouts because it's got
I'm looking
every connection.
I'm looking at a 2012 over here and just going, why Apple, why?
Yeah. So if you're gonna give me a whole stack of ports on a Mini, on a new Mini, on the M1, the new iteration of the Mini, then rock and roll. And that becomes the prosumer machine. And then if you make a reasonable MacBook, a reasonable iMac with a solid display, it need not be a spectacular display. If we're going to keep the iMac Pro, you can save it. So
they won't
if we're going to do, I said if they keep the Pro as for the machine for people who think they want a Pro machine, but don't actually want to pay the Pro price for the Pro machine that Apple will sell that says Pro upon it, then you buy the iMac with the 5K screen and it's space gray and whatever. But unless you're going to give me like a Mini that gives me all of those options you're talking about, my own keyboard, my own mouse, my own monitor, just like it was pitched to us in its original iteration, then I don't think, then there's absolutely a place for the iMac, because the iMac makes it so that you can get a really solid monitor for that same amount of money plus $200 or $300, like depending. So
I want to get David in here.
It's the waste.
Yeah,
it's the waste for me.
No, I was going to spin this a little bit. Apple yesterday, as I'm sure everybody knows, that they announced a new head of hardware, John Turnus, yesterday, the SVP of hardware engineering. So now you got a new, some new eyes to be looking at hardware, and could this really come to fruition? Will they get rid of the ledge, and will they do a complete redesign of the iMac? Is that been in the works? So by seeing this, I mean, this is obvious that Apple is really trying to do even more innovation. So I could see a lot of this happening with the iMacs. But I agree with you, Kelly, with the hookups and like in an education environment. When you got you don't want to be tearing down PCs. Believe me, I did it for years. It was never fun.
That's why I don't want to do it anymore.
Oh yeah, setting up desktops and monitors and the whole shebang. It was always so nice to have all in ones, and I did work with all in ones. I mean, I could go back to a PC where you used to have gateways, which was crazy. Bring out that old name.
Wow.
Yeah. So all in ones are always very ideal. I agree with you with the fact also with ports. I mean, they need to have some good ports on the iMac, so they're easy to hook up peripherals when you need them. Because the port pack on the iMacs were never that great, I don't think. And I know everybody's laughing at Brittany's background. So
no, David, I guess I do agree with. I mean, this is some kind of record. You, Kelly, and I agree on something.
And the show's
least with
over.
me,
Thanks for
not- I don't
coming
know
out,
about Kelly.
folks.
Yeah, Frank, you're in next, definitely. But I think that we keep talking about how Apple wants to make the whole widget. The whole widget is sitting right here in front of me. Display, computer, the whole thing.
Right.
The only thing they haven't figured out is a way to put the keyboard, so that it works, and the mouse. And the mouse, they got, and really, I don't have a wireless keyboard in this one, but you can go wireless too,
Right.
with both keyboard and mice. So, that's kind of where it is. Frank, what are your thoughts on this? Should we expect to see no iMac?
No, there's going to the iMacs will never go away. I'm curious as to, because I wasn't here last week, there's been 2 renderings that have been floating mostly online. One where it's basically a ripoff of the Pro display, and the other where it's a giant 28-inch iPad. I was wondering, does the panel like any of those, or do they see something other than that? Because I would be perfectly happy myself with the iPad, big screen that I can throw there, and then really beef up, the Mac Mini, and have the ports around the front and stuff. That would be fine by me.
Yeah, I don't see them touching the Mac Mini for anytime soon. I mean, this was a world record for Apple releasing 2 Mac Minis within 2 years, because if we remember correctly, they went 4 years without having a Mac Mini released. So,
were you talking about the Intel one and the M1 for the release? Okay,
I mean,
I was thinking, did I miss another M?
No.
And the dev kit.
The Intel in 2018, and then the M1 in 2020.
Okay, all right. Whew. All right.
There's that big market that's been coming down I've been seeing lately for these little flat panels about an inch deep that are the same form factor as the Mac Mini. They go underneath, but they give you the 4 ports right up front.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen 0 footprint things for the Mini and stuff forever. That goes all the way back to the one-piece Mac days. You could get a 0 footprint, they called them ZFP drives for your SE30, and you could stick it under there and add another 16 megabytes of storage or whatever was in it.
Good times.
But the whole point of it was just it made your computer a little bit taller because it went underneath, and then it didn't take up any additional space. And I think there's definitely room for the iMac, depending on how on if they think about what the Mini is going to look like, and then also design the iMac for what it's going to look like, because I don't think those are for the same people. So I think that there's definitely
They're not. They're really
definitely
not
a difference, right?
Yeah.
My video editor,
like the background.
who edits the videos so that I don't have to look at myself and want to die.
Join us in the pool,
Awesome.
Ariel.
he uses an iMac, and when he upgrades again, it's going to be to an iMac. Fortunately, now he knows to ask Brittany before you buy the thing with the spinning disc. But
you're not upset about that, are you?
He still
Not
has
even a
it.
little.
She's still on the fence.
He's editing videos of me having to use a spinning disc, and I feel terrible about this. But the thing is, that's what he's going to get, and as long as that's available, that's what he's going to get. And we had the talk, not that he can because COVID and money is a thing, but I said don't get it until the iMac is updated with the Apple Silicon, because it's just such a huge difference for most of the things he does. But he's always going to get an iMac. There are people, that's what they want, and that's the machine they're after, and they're not nerdy enough to get a Mac Mini and trick it out.
And they don't
want to do that. I want a pretty screen. I want it to be connected to my computer, and that's what I want. And yes, I wanted to go into target display mode so that when he's done with it, I can give him an extra monitor. But that's not something he's ever going to do himself.
And
that's part of the problem with this group right here, is that we all say what we want, and we forget about what the average person, an average. There's a big range of average.
Right. But for the record, I'm describing what I think Apple should do with the iMac, and I have zero interest in buying one. That's not going to happen. I'm not an iMac user.
Yeah.
And even behind me, Mr. Kelly with his new machine is still so like, I don't have to have this laptop. Where'd it go? I don't have to have this laptop on my desk. I could just get a mini and then strap it up underneath the desk and just use that, right?
Yep.
Like, couldn't I do that? And I'm like, yes, you could. But this laptop cost you $0 and that will cost you more than that. So, and so for right now, because of my matched set, his $0 solution is fine for now. So, that might change. He may still decide that the mini is the way to go. But the reason he's deciding that is because he has solved his display issue. So, like, his display issue was, I have one and I want two, and now he has two. And so when, and part of that is because he has to bring his work machine home and connect it to something as well. So when that happens, it's nice to have the option, but I think he'd like to, clear off some of that space on his desk. And the reason he has a laptop is because it's my old machine. So he may be set to pull the trigger on a mini for himself and just use that till the wheels fall off and be fine with it. So
they don't have $400 wheels for the mini.
We could get a
Pro.
Kickstarter going. And
Are you sure?
Sell a set.
Yeah.
Not
Figure out
yet.
something.
That zero footprint thing I was talking about that fits underneath the mini?
Our panel continues their discussion of Macintosh redesigns and the features they would like to see in the next edition of MacVoices as we wrap up this MacVoices Live discussion. I hope you'll join us then. But until then, and as always, thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you MacVoices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.